Hello everyone. In the previous session, we have started with the SQL join queries, and already we have covered the inner join operation. So basically there are three types of join operations, that is inner join, then outer join and self join operations. So today in this session, I will cover the outer join operation, right? In the previous session already we have discussed how inner join operation works, right? So this inner join operations are also called as the simple join operation in Oracle. Left outer join are also called as the left join operation. Right outer join are called as the right join operation, and full outer join are also sometimes called as the full join operation, right? So do not confuse here. Actually, there are basically two types of join operation: inner join and outer join. And again, outer join is divided into three categories, that is left outer join, right outer join, and full outer join. So in the previous session, already we have covered the inner join operation. With the another example, we will see this operation here, right? So you know that inner join operation, right, is used to retrieve data from the multiple tables, right, where the join condition met. This point is very, very important, student. Here, inner join operations are used to return the rows from multiple tables where the join condition is made. Why join condition is important? That also we have discussed in the previous session. Right? Without join condition, your join operation will return the Cartesian product, and Cartesian product will be the number of records, right? That will be the multiplication of the number of records in the first table with the number of records of the second table, right? And that will be written as a result, right? But all the records will not be valid. Which records will be valid? Where my foreign key and primary key of the table will match, right? So my referential key will match in both the table, right? And that records, those are matching this reference key we want to retrieve in the result, right? Because we want to retrieve the another fields of the table, those are matching this reference key, right? That already we have covered in the previous session. So what is the syntax for inner join operation, right? So I will repeat here, because this syntax also we will extend for the left and right outer join here, right? So here, what is the syntax for inner join operation? So select columns, right? These columns can be from both the tables or multiple tables that you are using in the join operation, right? From table 1, right? This is the alternative syntax that we discussed in the previous session. Select columns from both the tables, from table 1, right? Inner join table 2 on this join condition, table 1 dot column equal to table 2 dot column, right? So here we put the condition on the foreign key, right? So the common field that is in the exists in both the table, right? I hope student you are clear with this syntax, right? So here in the visual diagram we can see what the result of the inner join operation, right? So this is table 1 and table 2, right? So the record, those are matching the condition, right? My join condition will be retrieved by the inner join operation, right? So this part is similar to the intersection, but here we select the records, those are matching the common column in both the table, that already we have covered in the previous session, right? So Oracle would return the records where table 1 and table 2 intersect, right? So here is the example of the another database, that is supplier database, right? So assume there are two tables, right? There are two tables. My first table is the supplier table with the two fields, supplier ID and supplier name, right? So assume there are 4 suppliers in this database, right? So my first supplier is IBM, second supplier is the Hewlett Packard, third supplier is the Microsoft, and fourth is the Nvidia, right? This is my first table with the 4 records, right? And my second record, second table is the order table, right? Order table with the 3 fields, that is order ID, supplier ID, and the order date, right? These are the 3 records available in the order table, right? So this order is associated with this supplier, and this is the order date for this order, right? Then this is the second order 126 associated with the supplier 1001, that is Hewlett Packard. First order is associated with the IBM. Third order is associated with that details are not available in the supply table. You can note down, student, here, right? That is required for the outer join operation. So you can remember here, this order supplier details are not available in my supplier table, right? So we will see here how your outer join operation works with this. So you need to remember here, this supplier does not exist in the supplier table. And if you observe here, 1003 and 1002, these two suppliers are not associated with any of the order in the order table, right? So this database will help you to understand the concept of left and right outer join, right? So that time I will discuss here how it works, right? So first, before going to discuss about the outer join operations, right, I will here cover the inner join operation for this database so that you will understand the outer join operation, right? So if my query is to retrieve the supplier and order details, right, all the supplier details and its associated order details, right, as a result of the query. So my query will be here, select supplier.supplier ID. Here, instead of this supplier complete name, also you can use aliasing that we discussed in the previous session, right? So select suppliers.supplier ID means this supplier ID we want to take from the supplier table. If you observe this database, my supplier ID is the primary key in the supplier table, but it is foreign key in the order table, right? One supplier can be associated with the multiple orders, right? So this is foreign key here and this is primary key here, right? So definitely we need one common field in both the table to perform the join operation here, right? So here, if you have clear with this database, you can easily understand here how this join operation works, right? So I want to select here supplier ID from the supplier table, because supplier ID is available in both the table. You need to mention here table name. So my table name is supplier here. Either you can take supplier table or order table, both will be same, both will be correct. There will not be any error, and also my result will be correct. Why? Because we are retrieving the record, those are matching the supplier ID in both the tables, right? So if you do not mention this table here, right, so what can happen? Ambiguity error can occur here, right? So why this error occurs? Because your compiler will confuse key from which table that supplier ID need to select, from either supplier or from the order table, right? And that's why this table name is required in the select operation, right? Then supplier name. Also, I want to display here in the result supplier name. Now this supplier name is available only in the supplier table. Actually, this table name is optional, but also you can mention here, right? Then order date. So these three fields I want to retrieve from both the table, right? So I want to retrieve here data from both the table. So these two fields are from first table and order date from the second table, right? So how you will write here the inner join query, right? From supplier, my first table is the supplier inner join. This is the syntax inner join orders, right? After inner join, we mention the table 2, right? This is the syntax here, right? From table 1, inner join table 2 means what? Table 1 we are joining with the table 2, right? So here my table 1 is supplier and table 2 is order. Then on this join condition. What is my join condition here? Supplier.supplier ID equal to order.supplier ID. So this is my inner join operation. Why it is called as inner join? Because this selects the data from the table which is only common in both the table, right? I hope student you are clear with this. Then next we can discuss here the outer join operation. So when you will execute this query, right? When you will execute this query, my result will be this. So my inner join operation will retrieve these two records only. Why? Because this supplier ID is matching with 1000 and 1001. IBM and Hewlett Packards are only associated with the orders in the order table. So this is the inner join operation result here, right? I hope you are clear with this result set. Then next, here also we can see the another syntax for the inner join operation, right? As we discussed, the alternative syntax for the inner join operation: select supplier.supplier ID, supplier.supplier name, order date, right? From supplier orders, right? In from clause directly we mention here both the table names, right? If you are retrieving data from 3 tables, by giving comma you can mention here again third table name, where supplier.supplier ID equal to order.supplier ID. I hope student you are clear with this inner join operation, right? So left outer join I will cover in the next session. Thank you.